Delaware County's only live television newscast from Ball State University's Unified Media Newsroom. You're watching NewsLink Indiana Midday.
Welcome to NewsLink Indiana Midday. I'm Ashton Kessinger. About 1 year ago on March 14, 2024, tornadoes touched down in Winchester and Selma communities. Ever since that day, the communities have come together to remember and rebuild. NewsLink Indiana Amelia Winter reports.
Many people were not expecting the severity of the storm to be what it was, an EF3 tornado. For Alan Hernandez, it was just a normal day of work for him at his restaurant.
Then I see the skies start getting dark. And I step outside, take some videos, and I see a big cloud. I'm like, wow, that looks weird.
Hernandez's business had minor damage, but that's not the same for all of Winchester. Many neighborhoods, businesses, and the Freedom Life Church suffered extreme damage and are still under construction to this day.
We have between $12 and $14 million in damages.
The community was not alone after the storm.
Community came together, and as a whole, the state of Indiana, the surrounding counties, the mayors, they were all calling and offering their assistance.
And Alexis agrees with just that.
After that day, I feel so grateful to be here in Winchester because of just how great the community really is and how well everybody came together. And we made lots of good friends out of it, lots of good friends.
With the spring weather ahead, the community is taking extra precautions to be weather aware. In Winchester, Amelia Winter, NewsLink, Indiana.
It took Ron Miley and his family nearly 5 decades to build up their farm in Gibson County, Indiana. But it only took a tornado a few moments to tear it all down. Early reports show the twister that ripped through Saturday was an EF2. The family is working to rebuild, and they're getting help from the community. Jordan Yaney reports.
We heard a loud bang. The water started running down through the basement. And then we know that we was in trouble.
Hidden away in the basement with his wife and adult children, Ron Miley had no idea what he'd find when the storm passed.
By daylight, we realized that we'd lost about everything we had.
Grain bins filled with corn and the family's livelihood ripped apart. Barns torn to the ground, and his family's home of nearly 50 years likely a total loss.
If we would just lost the house, it would have been bad enough. We just lost the bins, it had been bad enough. We just lost the barn, it had been bad enough. But, at this point, we've lost everything we got.
Miley's personal belongings that used to fill his home, now replaced by fallen insulation.
When we moved here, it was a hayfield. A lifetime of building and an establishment, and now it's gone.
Now the goal is to build it back. And for the past 3 days, Miley has had an army of neighbors to help.
I've seen people here Saturday I didn't even know. So that says a lot.
Miley says roughly 100 people showed up at sunrise Saturday, working to pick up the pieces all the way until sunset. And they were back again the next day and the next.
If you don't believe in the community support, somebody needs to come up here and look at this.
And with that community help, the road to rebuilding Miley Farms looks a lot like it did back in 1977, from the ground up.
Everybody says everything can be replaced, and it can be, but it's going to take a while.
Despite the damage, the family stayed safe. None of them were injured. Let's take a look at today's NewsLink Indiana weather. These are the conditions right now. It's 64 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Expect a windy day with a chance of rain and maybe even severe weather later tonight, with a high in the middle 60s. Temperatures will drop a lot in the 7-day forecast. Highs will be mostly in the 40s and 50s, and it will be a bit dreary. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed the war in Ukraine needs to end with a lasting peace. That's according to the White House. The agreement came in high-stakes call between the two leaders on Tuesday. The Kremlin says Russia has agreed to stop attacking energy infrastructure facilities in Ukraine for 30 days. The President Volodymyr Zelensky says that Ukraine will stop attacking those sites in Russia. There is no indication Putin accepted the 30-day ceasefire that Trump has endorsed, which has received backing from Ukraine. Wednesday, Russia and Ukraine will exchange some prisoners, including wounded Ukrainian soldiers. Police are looking into exactly what happened in the parking lot of a Ukrainian grocery store in suburban Tacoma, Washington. It appears someone was intentionally trying to intimidate immigrants there. Jim Nelson has a story.
Hello. How are you today?
Amish Market in Fife has been a place of comfort for Ukrainians
Thank you. Have a day.
since the war with Russia began.
They trust and feel that they will be safe over here.
But this weekend, that feeling of safety was threatened.
They were acting very weird. Unfortunately, some of our customers and employees, they were not able to understand if they were real or not.
They were the people inside this SUV, marked with giant letters reading ICE and an emblem that to the untrained eye looks official.
They got scared, felt like what they were trying to do to intimidate people.
Manager Olena Ray says 60% of the store's customers and employees are immigrants, but are protected through the U.S. government's Uniting for Ukraine program. They were shocked to see that vehicle roll through the parking lot Sunday afternoon.
They have a language barrier, and they know in this situation when they have to deal with authorities, they don't really know their rights, and they don't know, they getting scared.
Upon closer inspection, in much smaller lettering was the word delivery beneath ICE. But this was no vendor. After about 5 minutes of circling the lot, the SUV was approached by security. That's when they left.
We just don't want our customers to be afraid of situations like that. We don't want our employees to get scared.
So many of them already have plenty to be fearful of back home.
In the UK, 2 men have been found guilty of stealing a gold toilet valued at $6 million. The functioning 18-karat art installation was on display in the Belham Palace, an English estate that was once home to Winston Churchill. It was created by Maruzzu Catalin, the same artist that created the famous art piece with the banana taped to the wall. In 2019, a hooded gang smashed into the stately property and stole the glittering commode. It was never recovered. Investigators believe the burglars broke it up into smaller chunks of gold and sold them off. On Tuesday, 2 men were found guilty of charges related to the crime. A third man had already pleaded guilty, and a London jeweler was found not guilty. Sentencing will be at a later date. On Tuesday morning in Florida, rescuers found 2 missing 16-year-old girls alive. The girls were waving from an island with sharp oyster beds on all sides. The U.S. Coast Guard, Florida Fish and Wildlife Police, and dozens of volunteer crews were all a part of the search effort. It was a volunteer group that found Avery Bryan and Ava Point. The teens hadn't been seen since the previous afternoon on an inflatable paddleboard. A rescuer said the girls' feet and hands were cut up. They were hospitalized to be evaluated for hypothermia, but were otherwise unharmed. Porcelain beads, seashells, and stones are some of the many charms used by one student who is bringing her charm to the campus community by making jewelry. Daniel Huber reports.
Spring is in bloom, and students across campus are embracing the sun.
Hi.
Including co-owner of Orchid Mantis Arts, Elliot McBride. When the weather is nice, you might spot her sitting outside the Doherty complex, making and selling earrings, necklaces, and bracelets.
When I sit in nature, I'm not feeling sad when I create. I'm feeling bubbly, I'm feeling happy. And I think I put a lot of that bubbliness into my work, if that makes sense. It's not sadness, it's a lot of expression of happiness.
McBride got into jewelry as one of the many hobbies she picked up from her mom. She says this hobby has made her meet many people.
Yesterday I got around like 5 or 6 people, which was really nice. And they came over and then they would invite their friends too. So that was really cool. Yeah, take a look around and I can put these over here if you want to look at them, but these are all earrings.
Do you have anything kind of like gothic?
I have this red and black pair that might fit the vibe.
Oh my god, yeah.
McBride tries to connect with the people who stop by her shop.
Feel free to stop by anytime I'm out here, you're all good.
And with that, she finds a connection with herself.
But I think this opportunity, like this shop, really gives me the ability to see the good in what people see in me. But truly, the community is what makes me want to keep working. So I think the best part of having a business on campus is just connecting with the people here.
And some customers may say that McBride is a gem of the campus community.
McBride doesn't have an official time for when she is working on merchandise, but you can see her at CCon 2025 in the LA Pittenger Student Center on March 29th. And that's your NewsLink webcast for today. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to join us tonight at 6:57 on Ball State PBS. And for news anywhere, anytime, go to ballstatedaily.com.